Hey, this is take two because I was rudely interrupted on the phone by a client rudely interrupting me. Anyway, we are talking about shame. Shame, the two faces of shame. We've got healthy shame, we've got unhealthy shame or toxic shame. So important to know the difference because shame is the most excruciating feeling in the universe. It's something that's, when registered, is pushed right down. We shame our shame. And that, therefore, it's instantly complicated. It's instantly unknown because when we shame our shame, we just cycle around. We're shaming ourselves for feeling shame and then cycle and cycle, and it goes round and round and round and round. And then when what we tend to do is that turns into anger and aggression, and we'll fight it and we dehumanize. I say we. I've done this for sure. I've done this in relationships. I've done this in dynamics, relational dynamics. Doesn't have to be a partner, can be a friend, can be a family. So anyway, let's back up, let's reverse so we can make sense of this. We can put it in a box, and then we can put that box in our pocket and we can understand it forever and ever and ever. Healthy shame activates and stimulates the conscience. So nice shame, let's call it nice shame. It's nice, it's useful, is when something that we do, an action, is shamed. We make a mistake, we fuck up, we say the wrong thing, we're insensitive. It happens. And then when it's mentioned, hey, when you did that thing, it made me feel like this. That's useful because it allows us to feel remorse. It allows us to take action to rectify it and change the situation and come back into connection. It's very humiliating. It's not humiliating, that's toxic. We're coming into that soon. Humbling. Humility, that's the word I'm looking for. Humility. It's humility. And because it's painful. It's painful to experience shame. So this is healthy shame. It's like, I did something wrong. I was insensitive. I made a mistake. Hey, I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. That's okay. We all make mistakes. Mistakes are fine. It's what we do afterwards that counts. It's, can we be in our integrity? Can we breathe? Can we hold ourselves up high and say, yeah, I fucked up. I'm gonna make amends. Unhealthy shame over here, the toxic shame, that's when the person is shamed. That's when I am wrong. I am a mistake. I am a fuck up. That is debilitating on all fronts because that is totally collapsing. I want to shrink. I want to be small. I want to disappear. And I think about when I was a child and I was shamed for not doing well at school, for not performing in the right way, for not being a good enough boy. I was pretty rebellious. I was pretty naughty. And my dad was quite violent and aggressive. So I was shamed. I felt shame. I was shamed. So it's no longer the action, it's the person, it's the doer. And that's problematic because that kind of shame is then internalized towards the self. It's an identity forming piece. Identity forming piece. I don't know what that's got to do with for. Nothing. Shame, when it is identifiable as an identity piece, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Sure, let's roll with that. Let's see where that goes. That's what a lot of men are dealing with. That's where a lot of performance, overachieving, high performance, work, productivity, produce, provide, protect, boom, 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 boom. That, because when men stop, they shame themselves for not having it all together, for not working harder. And here's the problem, right? High performing men, high achieving men, often think that the way to beat shame is to work harder because that's the inner critic voice telling them you're not doing it good, you're not enough, you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough, you're not being enough. So that's interpreted as do more, work harder. And then by the time most men get to 40, 50, they are burnt out, They are like they've lost their soul because they are just working and working and hustling. And it's just debilitating, isn't it? That's just like, it's not fun. Like, where's the joy in that? Yes, hard work is great. I love hard work. I take that back. I don't love hard work. I love effortful work. I like focused, effortful work. There's discomfort in that because I'm focused. I'm ignoring the impulse to do something different. I'm ignoring the impulse to pick up my phone and check WhatsApp to see if someone's messaged me and it's the best text message ever and it will light me up. No, that can wait. Like, stay centered, stay focused. Do not distract. Because we have monkey minds and we always want it. Like, that effortful work is hard. There's that word again. I'm trying to avoid that work. It's not hard, it's effortful. Anyway, I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I like working effortfully well. Again, sure, that works. But when it is being driven by shame and fear and those sour beliefs of not being good enough, sucks the life out of being a human being, which can be so much fun, so much joy. If we're like being fueled by shame and the suppression of shame and the shaming of shame, then we lose touch of the grand curiosity and the awe-inspiring wonder and sacredness of this mad-ass planet that we find ourselves on. I mean, it's bonkers. Look at it. Wow. Isn't it incredible? It is incredible. But when we're shaming ourselves and we're in a shame spiral and we don't even know it's shame, we haven't even got the language for it because we've shamed ourselves. Remember, we're over here in toxic shame. You can just forget about having a joyful life. So the idea is to separate the I am shamed. There's nothing wrong with shame. I feel like shame is so excruciating. And if we can feel it and go, yeah, that action that I took. And it's usually, we can usually unravel these shame cycles to our childhood where we were shamed. We didn't actually do anything shameful. We were probably very likely just kids, just boys being boys, getting messy, having a bit of a ruckus, having some fun, like injuring ourselves, and then we're being shamed for it. So we're being shamed for having fun. Imagine that. Like, imagine growing up thinking that fun is shameful. Anyway, I'm on some segues here. That's okay. So that voice, let's move to the voice, the inner critic. You're not good enough. When does the inner critic show up? When things haven't gone the way we planned, when we're tired and we lack energy, we lack focus, we aren't being productive, we aren't getting things done as fast as we'd like. That inner critic is stoked, it's activated. And that inner critic voice is what? The voice of dad, the voice of an overbearing teacher, a caregiver, even like a friend or a peer or a coach, like work harder, work harder, work harder. Internalized, then it can never be enough. Our actions can never be enough, because enough is something that's out there in the future that can only be achieved by working harder, which is impossible. The truth is that you're already enough. That inner critic voice is the voice of that old story. Dad. In my case, it's dad. And the biggest, most important thing I can do is just feel the shame and notice the inner critic and say, no, thank you. No, thank you to the inner critic. No, thank you. I'm just going to stay in my heart and feel this shame. And if I can do that, when I do that, it doesn't take long. It's not long before the shame passes, and I can, once it's passed, once it's felt, it's released. If it's on the surface, it's ready for releasing. And then when it's released, I feel great. I feel good. I can get on with my life. I can be loose and relaxed. My breath is in my belly. I'm in the parasympathetic state, which is rest and digest and keeping it real and having fun and being okay with myself. Because guess what? I'm enough. It turns out I'm enough. Hold that thought. I'm going to check the time. I've only been talking for 9 minutes. I've got another 11 to go. Great. Okay, so shame and the inner critic, it's like wrapped up in one ball. That inner critic voice is a slippery slucker. a slippery slucker, a slippery slooper. And that inner critic voice is the voice of the most evilest, harshest, influential spells and curses that I know of. What do I mean by that? Well, what is a spell? The spell is a word or combination of words of great influence. Magic number 5. We're doing magic right now. You're not good enough. That is a combination of words with a great influence. What does it influence? Influences our posture, right? I'm not good enough. Shoulders come down. Influences my breath, not good enough. Tends to be quite high and tight. Influences my imagination. I'm thinking like dark thoughts, not good enough. Not thinking future, I'm thinking past. And not good enough. It influences my ability or my inability to take action. So that's a spell. It's a spell of the curse variety. And we are hearing that. I heard that voice a lot from myself a lot over many, many years, probably over a span of like a few decades, actually, if I'm being honest. And only really in the last 3 to 5 years have I stopped and paused and actually looked at it, because I was trying to fight that inner voice. I was trying to fight that inner critic, which just stoked its flames, stoked its fuel. You can't fight it because it's in here, which is yourself. Although it's not yourself, because it's an internalized voice of someone when we were young. Let's call that internalized voice dad, because it was my dad. But it's not mine. It's not me. And yet it's in my head. How the fuck does that work? What are we going to do with that? Well, we need to dispel. We're talking about magic. We're talking literally about magic. How do I dispel that curse? Well, the most effective way, like I've discovered, is really simple. First of all is write it out. Write it out. Take off the W and you have R-I-T-E. Write it out, as in a ritual. Writing is a ritual. Writing is a ritual of magic, of spell casting, and transformation. I'm not talking about journaling. I'm talking about writing out that voice. Give it a name. What does it say? What does it believe? What does it think? What does it look like? How does it act? What does it think of other people? What does it say to me? Write it out. That is a huge process. What's the quickest way to dispel a curse? Write it out, but leave out the W, and then it looks cool. Can you imagine what those words look like if you write it out but without the W? Super cool. If you laugh at the devil, he will run away. If you laugh at the devil, he will run away. If you fight the devil, he will go stronger. If you fear the devil, he will go stronger. If you shrink in the presence of the devil, he will go stronger. But if you laugh at the devil, he's going to run away. That's cool. How do you laugh at the devil? Well, once he's written out, he's externalized. He's no longer this vague, infinitely swirling idea where the worst comes in, speaks to you, then disappears back into the infinite psyche. It's like, here it is. I got it on a piece of paper. I got it on a scroll. I'm going to decree it. I'm going to read it out loud now in the presence of other people or one other person. I'm going to read it out loud. You bet your bottom dollar that that's going to feel like a gnarly piece of work. Those words, because those words were internalized, now they're externalized, they're still going to feel harsh and horrible. I remember when I did this, I was sweating and shaking, writing out my inner critic story. But then you can do some pretty cool things when it's written out. You can slow it down. You can change the pace and the rhythm and the flow. You can change the phrasing of it. You can speed parts up and you can slow parts down. Write down. You can drill into the specific words that have been informing this meat suit for decades. My inner critic thinks I'm not good enough. What happens when you get the breath in there? Or just a few deep breaths turns off or turns the volume down on the amygdala. And the amygdala is the part of the brain that is fight or flight. It's like the fear response. It's the part of the brain that's looking for danger, like, fuck, we are in so much trouble. What the hell are we going to do? How are we going to get out of this? Especially the out breath. Switched off. Oh, wait a sec. I am good enough. That's not true. The inner critic isn't true. But this is a unique situation because I'm slowing it down rather than it being this like motor mouth, like machine gun mouth of an invisible entity in my head. I've taken it out of my head and I've slowed it right down to the point of space and clarity with my breath. That changes everything. And there's so many cool things you can do after that. But that changes the relationship between me and that voice in my head. That voice will never really go away. I don't think it will go. Who knows what that means? It will never really go away forever. But the volume's right down, and this is the important thing. I can interrupt that pattern whenever it arises. I can take a deep breath. In fact, I don't even need to take a deep breath if I'm doing this work of writing it out, reading it out loud, and slowing it down with the breath. I'm automatically neuro-associating that voice with deep breathing. So that voice arises, I automatically take a deep breath. I interrupt the pattern. Automatically, I don't have to think about it. How cool is that? The other side, on the other side of that inner critic voice. Wait, not on the other side. Let's bring it back over to this side. Let's get underneath it. Let's just unscrew the light bulb for a moment. That inner critic voice is going to arise when? When I'm tired, when I'm ill, when I'm hungry. When I'm hungry. Let's not get started on that. It also shows up when I'm dysregulated, when I'm a bit stressed. It shows up when I haven't looked after myself in the right ways, a bit isolated, haven't seen people in a couple of days. I can do that. I work on my own. Sometimes I work from home. It's pretty crazy. It's going to come up. It's going to come up when the brain changes shape because of stress and dysregulation and this and that, and certain people and certain triggers and certain environments and certain situations and certain like magic balls. Sure, it's going to come up. And I have an automatically attuned practice of breathing deeper. So basically, the inner critic gets less airtime. That's the important point here. Because up until I started doing this work, when it came up, I just let it run amok. It would just go and go and go, and I would sink and sink and sink and collapse and collapse and collapse until I was like just a puddle on the floor. And then I would usually reach for cannabis because that was my go-to, because cannabis made everything okay again. Great. What a great medicine that was. Like, it would numb that voice. It would dim that voice. Fantastic. It would also numb everything else, which isn't great. But as a medicine, it had its uses. As a long-term medicine, it prevented me from feeling what it is to be alive. I don't want to do that. I don't want to numb for the rest of my life. I want to feel, because feeling is good, because I'm a human being. I've got a body and it feels, and that's cool, because if I can get under some of the less pleasant emotions and feelings and sensations, there's some pretty cool things going on in this body. Like, it's a great mystery. What is it? I really don't know. How can I know? Like, I seem to be attached to it, so I might as well try and explore it. which means not numbing. Anyway, I completely lost my train of thought. Doesn't matter. I think we've sort of come to the end. Don't use cannabis every single day to switch off the inner critic. Instead, use your breath, use a piece of paper, write it out, play with it, interrupt the pattern. And in so doing, we cut off the shaming of ourselves. And then shame can be this wonderfully exquisite relational tool that we can use to move closer and closer to people and closer. Hey, I'm really sorry I fucked up, and when I did that, I was really out of integrity. I'm really sorry. I mean, if that comes from an honest, authentic place within you, like, as long as it's not like a regular occurrence, you don't do it too often, that's a really cool place to be. And if you're in a dynamic with someone who's like, wow, okay, you're being honest and real, appreciate your honesty, great, that's going to create more connection. More connection is the name of the game. I have come to the end. 21 minutes. Thank you for listening on this rant and this rave and this dance and this game called Shame. Stay classy.